The information platform that you're seeing right now is part of a revolution. I know that sounds exaggerated. I know that sounds like, oh my God, what's this guy, a revolution? It's part of a revolution in information that took everybody by surprise. I want you to stop and realize you have more available opinion platforms that you could ever imagine. It has never been like this. It is one of the greatest moments ever. There's nothing like it. In my generation, we had 3 networks, some newspapers, some magazines, and that was it. We were so limited in the amount of information that we could see that we just didn't know what to do with it. We did not know what to do. We would parse into it, and then somebody somewhere along the line, if somebody was quote revolutionary or somebody that was different, maybe there was a Lenny Bruce came along that was really at the beginning of my life. I don't remember that, but then maybe George Carlin, maybe Mort Saul, maybe he was in the world of comedy. Maybe there was underground. He had underground magazines, underground newspapers, underground literature. Then there was a notion of the radical. What was radical? Interestingly enough, and let's be thankful for this, the radicals, many of them that were running around were dangerous and violent and very destructive. Let us be thankful they are not in any way available today. I'm not saying it's perfect. There are violent folks out there, but not like before. So while some things have improved and been ameliorated, certainly, other things have been, well, not so much. And then came the information explosion. And then somewhere, somebody gave the signal that individual citizens would be allowed, could be allowed to speak about anything they wanted. This was especially in the nascent period of the internet. I remember it was the Wild West. And yes, it was fraught with charlatans, misinformation, disinformation, bad information, you name it. Hate, lies, deception. Yes, as is life, as is the regular theater of life. It is filled with more people than you can imagine who have said some things. And I hear it all the time. I hear it in terms of health. This really always amazes me. People who are giving health information in terms of diet or nutrition or how to live a life that could certainly prove to be injurious, but I'm not a policeman. That's not my thing. I believe in caveat emptor. I believe that everybody should listen to be able to say whatever they want and take it with a grain of salt. I'm all for warnings. I'm all for language warnings. I have no problem with that. There is a certain degree of, a certain modicum of rules that we as a society enjoy. No shirt, no shoes, no service, what we can and can't wear. I understand that. But that's not what happened. So now we're getting into different levels of information. We're getting into different levels. And I don't think people see it the way I do. I see it in terms of areas. There is information that will be X-rated. You probably don't remember this, but in my generation, I keep saying that a lot because I just do. But in my generation, we had X-rated. And X-rated was verboten unless you were an adult and you could prove it. Forget the R-rated. It was X. It was considered obscene and pornographic. And by today's standards, it's a joke. But the idea was it was a film. And it dealt with a subject matter. But it dealt with it in a way and showed you things in a way and explained to you things in a way that you required a warning to see. And that is why I, a long time ago, came up with LionelMedia.com. A subscription, paid, private, secret, by invitation, sort of. I'm inviting you. Which allows me to do longer form involving subject matter that I do not have to consider in any way subject matter, not in terms of delivery, not in terms of coprolalic, language and vile pornography, profanity. No, not that. But the subject matter which may not be popular. It is the subject matter today that gets the X rating. The subject matter. And to be more precise, your coverage of the subject matter. There are some things you cannot say, but if you do say, you must adopt this as the opinion. If it is about subject X, you must denounce it. You must not question it. You must not suggest that maybe there's two sides of the story, or that maybe some other dark force is perhaps controlling the narrative. Oh, no. Never. And here's my thing, lest you confuse what I'm saying. I have no problem with anybody setting up parameters, setting up the rules as far as what can and cannot be said, so long as the rules are known and so long as that you are given some type of prior notice. That's all. As long as you're aware of the rules. We always have rules. I'm glad there are rules. I'm glad that there are some people who are not necessarily mean or evil, but they say things that are a bit obstreperous, a bit inappropriate, and I think it destroys the feeling and the notion and the idea of the subject matter. So let me just say this to you. I appreciate you, and I have appreciated you for these years. I would like to invite you. I have a private channel, LionelMedia.com. It's a private channel. It's long form. And it's subscription based. And it's apart and away from everybody else. And it allows me a certain form of an audience to discuss things differently. Differently in terms of the way I want to really explore. And what happens is, and this is the most important thing to remember, if I were to tell you, now listen, I want you to speak before this group, but please be careful. Please be careful, and please make sure you don't say anything that can get you or us into trouble. Now have a good show. You're not going to know what that is. Self-censorship is the worst form of I don't know what the word is, censorship there is, because it makes you censor yourself because you're not even sure, well, what exactly does that mean? What does that mean? Watch what I'm doing. What? What does that mean? And it slows you down. It stops you. It limits you. That's the most dangerous. So I invite you to join me, to subscribe at LionelMedia.com. I have a link here contained within this. And I don't have to ever consider the idea of self-censorship. I don't have to do it. And there's something that is so liberating, in a very interesting way, about being able to speak as to subjects where you know people will understand the spirit, the intent, and the bases of and from which you speak. That's all. Now, with that, I wish you have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much for your support and for your open-mindedness. I appreciate that. And whatever you do, I ask you to, and this is most important, like this video. It's always important, by the way, whenever you watch a video, to like it and help a creator's algorithms and the like. But most importantly, below, comment as you see fit.